Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the international media call for the big night that we have on Saturday, September 11th at Staples Center here in Los Angeles. Triller Fight Club presents Legends 2, a big night of boxing, and it features two legends from the world of combat sports. First, from the world of boxing, you have the Hall of Famer, the Olympic gold medalist, a 6th division world champion with a record of 39 wins, 6 losses. We have the golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya, as he will take on the former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, the Phenom, Vitor Belfort from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. First of all, I want to introduce a 21-year professional mixed martial arts veteran. He won the UFC 12 heavyweight tournament. He fought in the middleweight division, the light heavyweight division, and also in the heavyweight division. He's beaten the who's who in the world of mixed martial arts, ranging from Randy Couture, also Michael the Count Bisping, Dan Henderson, and Wanderlei Silva. He has the 3rd most finishes in UFC history, and he also has 26 professional mixed martial arts wins. He hits like a truck and is one of the most lethal finishers that we've ever seen in the world of mixed martial arts. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Phenom, Vitor Belfort. Vitor.
It's nice to be here.
Give us opening comments, Vitor.
Yes. I love your comments. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, be able to compete with the best boxer of all time, Oscar De La Hoya. It's an honor, and just be able to make this a real fight, not exhibition. And I can't wait for literally I think this fight will be the fight of the century, no doubt in my mind.
The man that is sitting next to you will be standing across the ring from you on Saturday, September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view. Well, he really needs no introduction, but anyways, I will try to do my best to serve him one. A 16-year professional career, 1 Olympic gold in 1992 for the United States of America. Professionally, beat the likes of Fernando Vargas, Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez, Gennaro Hernandez, Ricardo.
A 6th division world champion, the Hall of Famer, the legend from East Los Angeles, the golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar.
Thank you very much. It's a big honor as well. You know, being in this type of event and environment, facing a fighter, facing a striker in Belfort is a big challenge. It's going to be a fun one. You know, I've mentioned all along, you know, the mutual respect we have for each other is real, but the mutual fight that we're going to give you, that we're going to engage in, is going to be like no other, and I'm looking forward to it. Call me crazy, but I'm looking forward to it.
Start off with Vitor Belfort as we get ready to go ahead and break down the fight here in Los Angeles.
Vitor, for you, being able to represent Brazil in this magnitude, you are the heavyweight champion of the world, the ranking world of boxing. Can you tell us about what this fight means to you, the significance?
So this fight means a legacy. This fight means that we are putting everything on the line and be able to literally bring in the best of both sports. And it's going to be life history. Life in history is going to come down, and we're going to write the history together on that day. And like I said, it's all about preparation. It's about doing what you love and living for that. And that's what we are doing. And we can't wait to be able to perform on that night. It's, for me, it's just glamorous to see how what boxing can bring with the fist, what the fist can do. It can unite nations, can unite values, can literally celebrate life. and that's what we're doing. It's going to be a hard night, and we're looking for amazing war, and when you step on that thing, it's an honor. It's like the samurai used to do. It's the honors thing you can have is to be able to being judged by the guy who you competed with it. And I know Oscar never choosing an easy opponent like other boxers are choosing over there fighting a YouTuber. He literally choosing to fight someone bigger than him. You know, it's a big challenge for all of us, and we're looking for amazing historical fight.
In terms of taking on this kind of challenge, you know, being away from the ring for 13 years, you could have easily taken a path of least resistance. Instead, you're fighting a man who is 20 pounds heavier than you, than what you've typically been accustomed to fighting when you fought in the middleweight division. At this stage of your life, you literally you're the Hall of Famer, have accomplished everything under the sun, but why Vitor Belfort for September 11th?
Well, I've literally have been involved in all major fights with all walks of life, every style there is to have inside the ring. I've faced, you know, when you look at, you know, the heavy puncher Felix Trinidad, or you look at the fast hands with Floyd Mayweather, or the lightning fists of Manny Pacquiao. You know, the heavy punch of Fernando Vargas. I've never been in with a fighter like Vitor, who throws from different angles, you know, with a lot of power, and knows how to fight basically with great technique. So that's a big challenge to me. And you know, when you're at this level, when you're at the elite level, you want to challenge yourself. And you know, my mentality hasn't really, or wouldn't have been the same if I were to face, like Vitor has said, of a YouTuber or somebody from the street that doesn't know how to fight. You know, at my level, you have to face the very best. You have to face the tough challenges, you know, the impossible fights that maybe a lot of people don't think you're going to win. You know, that's my drive. That's my everything. So, you know, it's really nice to feel that fire again, because I've been retired, yes, for quite a few years, but you know, ever since I started training a few months ago, I feel incredible. I feel whole again. So it's gonna be a nice. A fun night, and I know Vitor is going to come to knock me out and fight me and go hard, but I'm actually looking forward to it because that's what I miss. That's what's been driving me all these years, you know, and that's what I've been missing. So yeah, it's going to be a great night of boxing for everyone.
Oscar, as we look at you in terms of your demeanor, how you are, I've seen you in the past. You're very jovial, you're relaxed. You're you're extremely friendly. You are now, but I'm seeing you have that look of, as they say, the eye of the tiger. Is that fair to say as you head into your showdown with Vitor Belfort on September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view?
Well, I mean, it's basically, we're about 7 weeks away, a little under 7 weeks away, and you know, everything is calculated, and it's go time, you know, it's crunch time. It's, you know, the mentality, the just doing everything calculated, you know, from your demeanor to what you eat, what you breathe, how you sleep, you know, how many hours you rest. Everything is calculated. I've been here before. I've done that. I'm sure Vitor will tell you the same thing. It's a lifestyle. It's and at this particular moment, it's crunch time, you know, and you know, we're going to go to war. We're going to go to war. And I told, with all due respect, I told Vitor, look, we're gonna beat the crap out of each other. It's going to be a lot of fun. Call me crazy, but we're gonna make history, you know, and the fact that it's a real fight, you know, this is the first in history, so it's going to be special.
So for you, as we look at
things that you are looking to do for the world of, Brazilian fighters and also other mixed martial artists, do you feel like you're going to be a pioneer in saying, okay, like the way that I'm doing now, getting involved in boxing here with Triller Fight Club, that other fighters that are within the UFC ranks, originally it was supposed to be George St. Pierre was pegged for this. Dana White said no, didn't allow him to do that. You obviously are not under contract with the UFC. Other guys are going to look at you and say, hey, if Vitor did it, you know what, let my contract run out. I might do the exact same thing. Do you think that we might start to see a trend when it comes to this endeavor that Triller Fight Club is looking to do?
Yes, 100%. Remember, we're in business, and when you're in business, you got to know how you enter in the business, how you exit in the business. I wish I knew that before. It's in everything you do in a relationship, can be towards anything. You know how to begin and how you're going to create an exit. And the things what a lot of fighters are, trash talking, they just under contract. And I mean, I think it's very unfair because we wish we can see some fights. But I'm thinking about could not be a better set of putting these two guys together. And I'm here, we're sitting down. We made history on the sports, both in different a ring in an octagon. But now it's what Trillers have the capacity of bringing. It's putting fights that never been done before. It's dream fights, and that's my advice for athletes for they're in whatever in combats or anything, looking for how you begin, but also your exits, because the opportunity that we have right now is just amazing for guys that make histories, and sometimes they're tied up in the contract, and like they're. Oh, I wish I could do it, but this wishing is not a thing. In business, it's either you can or you can't. So I'm very glad that I'm capable to do this with my team, to put this together and be able to facing the greatest boxer of all time, Oscar De La Hoya. And I think we are putting these two events, these two biggest combat sports together, the guys that can strike.
I'm going to bring up the fact of a UFC flyweight, a women's fighter, Sarah Alpar, who had a GoFundMe page that was started to help pay for her training camp expenses. Triller Fight Club, led by Ryan Kavanaugh, donated $25,000 to help her meet her mark so that she could train and focus on fighting full time. Does that pain you when you see other or former fighters or fighters within the UFC ranks that have to have other jobs to be able to pay for their training expenses and things along those lines instead of just focusing on fighting?
Yeah, that's the biggest issue we see, and that's called the scope of MMA community. Boxing and MMA, sometimes you put a lot on the line and you don't have the reward that you can. Look what Oscar did. Oscar not just become one of the greatest guy paid fighter, but also he become a promoter. So in boxing, the scope of boxing is different than MMA. The problem is just the way the economics are divided. I see a lot of people, unhappy with UFC right now, with contract-wise. But like I said, no one put a gun in your head and make you sign. You got to be aware that when you sign, it's done. You have to accomplish. So it's of course it's almost become like a type of a monopoly type of thing, but it's your choice. And I believe that a lot of guys suffering from that because it's a lot of people. And as an individual, you only get paid. Can you sell? Can you sell pay-per-view? Can you make money? Because the company, I think the company is looking as everyone is an individual. But we see the scope, like a lot of people unhappy. If you're unhappy with a situation, look for a way out. Like I said, every relationship is coming in agreement. If you're not happy with the situation, I believe you can go there, find a way to get out of that relationship or this business. So my advice is like this. We have a new ocean. It's so nice to see Ryan helping this girl because a lot of fighters, I tell you right now, a lot of fighters are unhappy with their payday. A lot of fighters, they're unhappy the way they're, they cannot pay for themselves. It's hard. It's a hard job. Fighting is a hard job. It's not everyone is going to make the money. And Oscar can tell you about it because he's not just being a fighter, being a promoter. It's two different hats. So it's hard when you have tons of fighters under your contract. So the scopes are different. The way boxing works, the way MMA works is totally different. Like I said, looking for your way to get in, but also the way to get out, and who's representing you. That's the key. Because when you're done, when you sign, your life is going to have to do what you're unhappy with it.
Oscar, for you, as we go ahead and look at, you are a promoter, but now you're taking off your promoter hat and diving into, your fighting hat and stuff. What is that like? I mean, because Golden Boy Promotions still continues to do events and you have a lot of fighters under contract. Now, are you totally isolating yourself away from your business venture and focusing on this fight? What are the juggling act that you have to deal with over these next 7 weeks?
Well, just to touch on what Vitor was saying, Golden Boy promotes roughly, we cut it back to about 40 to 50 fighters, but all those fighters are getting paid. All those fighters are fighting, are having a career, are blossoming, and there's a reason for it. I can promote 200 fighters, 300 fighters, but I don't want to end up in that same situation where this young lady had no training expenses for her next fight. There's a reason why Golden Boy is exploring the possibility of an acquisition from Triller. I think Triller and Ryan Kavanaugh has done an amazing job building a brand, and you can imagine if Golden Boy, with all our assets, can come together and merge and really take the sport by storm. I've been talking about opening up a new entity and doing some MMA as well. I've been talking to a lot of fighters in that field, in that world, and there's a lot of fighters, a lot of talent, a lot of hungry fighters who want to join forces. So taking my promoter's hat off, it's not easy because I love what I do, but I'm sorry if I'm disrespectful to all the Brazilians, but I fucking love fighting, and I love taking off my hat and stepping inside the ring. That's what started everything. It's the feeling of getting hit, the sense of retaliation, everything about it, the training, the suffering, the diet, everything you just breathing the dirty hand wraps. It's an amazing thing when you're at that level, the way we are. So come September 11th, we are very respectful towards each other because we are legends and there is history to be made here. But we can guarantee one thing, is that this is not an exhibition. This is a real fight.
Now we have questions from the media. By all means, make sure to go ahead and raise your hand. And once we go to you, unmute yourself. We're going to go to Rodrigo Tenori, as he has a question for both Oscar De La Hoya and also Vitor Belfort. Rodrigo, go ahead.
Hi guys. Vitor, I want to ask you one question in Portuguese, please, ok?
Sim.
Vitor, então, antes a gente já tinha conversado e você estava escalado para enfrentar o Tarzan, também pela Triller. Como foi essa negociação para sair de uma personalidade da internet para o Oscar De La Hoya, que é um dos grandes nomes da história do boxe, e como é que está a sua preparação para essa grande luta?
Bom, primeiramente a luta ia ser contra o Holyfield, e aí por algum caso ele não quis aceitar essa luta, o time dele aceitou. Aí em cima da hora falaram sobre o Tarzan, eu topei e acabou que a luta não saiu. Então desde o princípio era um lutador com um legado, né? Essa é a minha busca. E agora como você falou, surgiu agora a luta do Oscar, então eu fico muito feliz de poder estar lutando com um lutador com a notoriedade e o legado que ele tem. Então acho que vai ser um grande combate. E a preparação está indo ótima.
Sobre arte, obviamente. Como você analisa essa luta contra essa lenda que está aí do seu lado? Onde reside as chances de vitória? Vai apostar no poder e na explosão mesmo, como de costume?
Quando eu luto com o oponente, eu trabalho sempre no quesito de, quando eu assino a luta, eu tenho certeza que eu vou ganhar. E é trabalhar em cima da minha estratégia. Então, assim, estou muito confiante e tenho certeza que vou sair com a vitória.
Last question, guys. Please. Vitor, sobre o futuro, você falou que deseja fazer lutas até com Evander Holyfield. Isso continua nos seus planos? O mesmo vale, por exemplo, para uma suposta luta aí contra o Anderson Silva, o Vanderlei Silva e também os irmãos Paul?
Sim, com certeza. O Holyfield será, se Deus quiser, poderia ser a próxima luta em dezembro. Esse é o objetivo.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. And I want to go to you both, Oscar and Vitor. You guys both come, Oscar, you're Mexican-American. Vitor, you come from Brazil. Both of them have rich traditions when it comes to combat sports. Mexico, with boxing predominantly now becoming, more of a force in MMA. And Vitor, you coming from Brazil with obviously the legendary Acelino Popo Freitas, but also the lengthy mixed martial artists that are down there really making waves. Do you feel your nationalistic pride, embodies this fight both with the countries that you represent? First, we'll start with Oscar.
Absolutely, we're representing, nations that have a rich history at the highest level. I've actually promoted a lot of Brazilian fighters who have reached championship status, and we're actually looking into promoting a lot more Brazilians because of the talent that's coming out of that country. What can I say about Mexico? The tradition just continues. You think about the Salvador Sanchez, and you think about Julio Cesar Chavez, and you think about now Canelo, who's the world champion from Mexico. It's quite interesting to see such countries develop incredible talent, and it's all because a lot of times we have to, a lot of times we want to, a lot of times we don't have a choice, but there's something about the air, there's something about the streets, the way we grow up, the way we're raised. It's something about all that produces the best talent in the world in combat sports. So, and that's what's going to be demonstrated come September 11th.
Vitor, for you, representing your home country of Brazil, obviously the legendary mixed martial artist there, Oscar, talked about the fantastic champions that are coming out of Brazil when it comes to boxing. But what does it mean for you to be representing your home country of Brazil on September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view against the legendary Oscar De La Hoya?
First of all, it comes honor. You honor your country. It's where you're born. It's where literally, and talking about a third world country. If you make success, in Brazil, it's like when you're talking about poverty, we're talking about difficulties. In all of us, your struggles make who you are. It's not your success. Your struggles define you. Your struggles literally, reveals your character. And I think that's how we grow up. We struggle, and that struggle comes, like I said, when you fight, you don't have a ball, you don't have a net. You know, it's all about your skills, your will. I call it the willpower. Martial arts is with the willpower, and to learning to understand that weakness, it's something that exists when you literally afraid of trying. So literally, your weakness is only your weakness if you never develop understanding that it's the uncertainty what kills people. And now with this coronavirus situation, we see people are so afraid of uncertainty. So martial arts teach you to deal with that, the uncertainty of tomorrow, how you can work that progress, called a little bit more, you know, the 10,000 rules. So martial arts taught me so much, and I think that's the culture of Brazil. And that's why not just Brazil and Mexico, they develop through that becomes a cultural thing, you know, and they look for each other and they see, I want to be like him, what he did, and they start doing, and they start creating different things. And we see just every month something happens. Every day a hero is born. We just don't know, and we start discovering. So it's pretty cool.
Did you both, I'm going to ask both of you guys this question in regards to, this is Triller Fight Club Legends 2. The first one featured Mike Tyson against Roy Jones Jr. here at Staples Center in November of last year. Oscar, did you really get the itch once you saw Mike Tyson go out there and fight Roy Jones Jr.? I mean, you guys are, you know, he's a little bit older than you, but did you really sort of say, okay, now I'm going to do this? And I'm sure you started talking with Ryan Kavanaugh and Triller Fight Club about making this come to fruition. And lo and behold, we have September 11th. But did you see Mike Tyson and say, okay, I could still do this?
Well, it's an inspiration. I mean, to watch Mike Tyson at 56 years old go up against another legend like Roy Jones Jr., it certainly was an inspiration, but it wasn't what got me back, you know, into getting inside the ring. I've never lost the itch. I've always had the itch. You never lose the itch. Once you're a fighter, you're always a fighter, you know. And like Belfort was saying, yeah, there's fear in making decisions, and I was always afraid to make that decision to come back. When I got beat by Manny Pacquiao, I know that wasn't me. I know that wasn't, it was a shell of me. I know it was a shadow of me. And the next day I wanted to fight again, you know. The next day I never lost that itch. So every single day I've always thought about coming back. I've always thought about training. I've always thought about preparing. I've always thought about, you know, stepping inside the ring and fighting another legend. And it took me many years, many years to finally figure out that fear is what's keeping me away from the ring, you know. And so when you can figure out fear, I think you can basically figure out anything. And that's exactly why we're here. You know, I finally pulled that trigger and said to myself, I can do this. I believe in myself. And yeah, here we are.
Vitor, same question for you. When you saw Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. at their age go out there and perform and fight, you both are very motivated individuals, but did that go ahead and sort of, you know, say, okay, I really want to do this and I want to get back inside the ring?
I always be very vocal, and it's like I say, it's always inspiration. You see an older guy coming in and inspire you, but my motivation comes from internally. I make my decisions not through what other people are doing. So for me, it's like I said, it's just like a fire can only burn if it comes from the inside. So they have a coal, like something inside a fire that is keep that flame burning. And the fire wasn't there. You know, I was always available, but the fight that means it wasn't there. And when you have an opponent, like I said, you are defined by who you fight with. You're not defined just by who you are. You can only define an opponent by who that samurai fought against, you know, where he's come, what clan he's coming, because you're judged by who you fight against. So for me, it's an honorable thing to be able to have that motivation. Like I said, fear it's something that we deal with that every day, but the beauty of life is just to fighting your fears, and then you can achieve your dreams. So here we are. So It's going to be a tremendous night, September 11th. What I can tell you, this is not just inspiration, but this is a real fight. It's not an exhibition. We got to always touch that again. This is going to be a real fight, not an exhibition.
Questions from the media, by all means, raise your hand, and we will allow you to go ahead and ask questions to both Vitor and Oscar De La Hoya. Gentlemen, this is obviously going to be a very big night of boxing in the world of combat sports history. Styles make fights, though. Oscar, for you, do you feel that fighting Vitor Belfort with the kind of style and the power and the pressure that he brings leads to be an exciting and entertaining fight on September 11th?
Well, that's always a given. You know, that's actually one thing we have to unlock and figure out. I've never faced a style like Vitor's, so it's the beauty of watching film. It's the beauty of figuring out your opponent. You know, that's the beauty that we have with being able to watch old fights and study your opponent. I mean, it's an advantage to nobody, basically. I've never fought a style like Vitor's, and I'm sure he's never fought a style like mine. So, you know, people say, well, you might have an advantage. I don't believe that whatsoever, because his style is very unique. I've never faced a style like his. You know, the power that he possesses, the angles of punches, it's going to be different, you know. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be fun to figure out. So, yeah, come September 11th, you know, we're going to be two warriors that are just going to have each other figured out, and you know, we'll basically feel each other out and go to war.
Oscar De La Hoya, someone who is, you know, obviously has tactical brilliance. He has won multiple world championships around a variety of different weight classes. He's a Hall of Famer, an Olympic gold medalist. Fighting someone with the caliber of boxing like Oscar De La Hoya, how much are you looking forward to that challenge on September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view?
It's very simple. If you're not challenged, you're not living. If you don't challenge yourself, if your life is if you know what's going to happen tomorrow, what's fun about doing today? And I feel like people right now are so afraid they're attaching, living, oh, I'm not going to risk, I'm not going to do things. They live by fear. And that's the difference between people that are doers, because they don't live by fear, they live by faith. So I have faith in my skills, but like I said, I'm fighting the best boxer of all time, a guy who knows to use the jab like nobody else, a guy who's learning to go for the body to the head. He knows how to put combination like nobody. And it's like, for me, it's literally like, give me inching just to understand, and I'm dealing with that. So angle and understand is like, for me, fighting is like a samurai with a sword. It's not how many times you can strike, it's how you strike, you know. And like I said, it's going to be a lightning day. It's going to be a very, you know, just the anticipation of that, it just give me excitement, because that's what makes you got to be in your edge. Like when you surf big waves, you got to be in your edge. You got to respect that wave, but you got to really know that you can surf, you know. And I really, I'm very well prepared for that moment. So I think it's going to be a great night.
That has been said over the course of combat sports history is, once a fighter, always a fighter. You never lose that want and that wherewithal to compete. Oscar, do you feel like with what you and Vitor Belfort are getting ready to embark upon on September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view can be an inspiration for other fighters who've been away from the sport for some time, but may feel like they have the ability and the skill set to still perform at a high level? Can you guys set forth this new precedence for other fighters moving forward?
Well, we're definitely an inspiration to a lot of young fighters who are coming up. I'm sure there's fighters out there who think they can still do it. You know, I'm my own individual, you know, and I'm just trying to inspire myself at this point, you know. I've had a very rough and difficult road get to where I'm at. And you know, when I say that I'm doing it for myself, I literally mean it. You know, I'm doing it for myself. I've always done it for millions of people. I've always done it for my mother, who's always been taking care of me from up above, you know, but I've never done it for myself. And this is going to be a whole different feeling, a whole different dynamic. It's going to be, I thought that I trained well in the past, but now it's just going to be different, you know. And that's the motivation that Vitor was talking about. You know, this is a real challenge, and that's exactly what I needed in life.
Or I know I asked you this earlier, but is it, you know, knowing that the odds makers have you as the favorites and everything else, is it because you feel like you've been more active? You fought last, I believe, in 2018. Why do you feel that those that are setting the lines for this fight have you tabbed as the favorite? Is it because you're naturally the bigger man and do have obviously quite a bit of punching power and finishing power?
Yeah, I always say to myself and to any competitors, odds is something that you create your own odds. You don't look for, what people are saying. So I recognize it early in life. If I listen to people, I would be a failure today. I will not come to America with 16 years old, dropping 8th grade. I will not becoming a world champion. If I listen to people, I will be a failure. So I'm glad that I never listened to the people. And like I said, everything that happened outside of my control, I really don't care. I only care things in my control. And I say it again, and I say it for you to understand, it can change your life right now. You have your conscience and your subconscious. Your subconscious choose, but your conscious make decisions. So you literally have to train your subconscious literally to pave, to sharp, and to make sure, because a lot of things you bring today, it's what's happened years ago. So my job is always to sharpen my subconscious to say I can, I will, and I want. And that's that's all comes about. You create your own odds and go after.
We are getting ready to wind down. I'm going to start off with Vitor Belfort. Vitor, in a perfect world on September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view, how does this fight end against the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya?
In martial arts, you learn there is no second round. There doesn't exist second round. There does exist fourth round. So I fight for the moment, and every moment I'm looking to finish. I'm a finisher, and I'm going to enjoy. So I'm looking. We have 8 rounds, so we're going to fight 8 rounds. But I'm looking for the opening, and that's the beauty. I want people on their feet. Nobody want to sit down in their arena. We're going to put people on their feet, and I promise you one thing. It's like we're doing this. It's not to, we want to sell this or we want to do this. We want to break records. The reason we do this is just not just to inspire, but like I said, we're going to inspire ourselves. Like Oscar said, it's all about internal. It's everything start in you. So we literally bring the best of each other. It's going to be a great night.
Perfect World, September 11th, Staples Center here in Los Angeles on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view. How does your fight end with Vitor Belfort?
Well, let's just put it this way. I mean, I've never been involved in a boring fight whatsoever. I love fighting. You know, I smell blood and you go for it, you know, and same with Vitor. And that's exactly why we are who we are. Why we're legends, why we're exciting to watch. You know, he's going to go for the knockout, I'm going to go for the knockout. That's the bottom line. So I don't want to go 2-0 in this arena. I want my hand raised, and I want it by knockout. So, you know, with all due respect, I'm going to train as hard as I can, as smart as I can, and be prepared for a big Mack truck coming at me September 11th.
One thing we know, it's not a dance with the stars, it's fighting with the stars.
So, all the best of luck to you. We look forward to seeing you during
He had to finish it with a bang, right?
No question about it. Oscar, Vitor, thank you guys very much. Good luck throughout the rest of the training camp. We cannot wait for your fight September 11th on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view here at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Guys, have a great one. We'll see you during fight week.